What's up, y'all? This is Elle with Roselle's Creation. Today we are going to be doing a fire alcohol ink tumbler tutorial. Thank you guys for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, and share. And let's get started. So today we are using a 30-ounce modern. I got this from the Stainless Steel Depot. First things first, I prepped the tumbler by sanding it and spray painting it with white glossy Rust-Oleum spray paint. And there I was measuring to make sure my tumbler was level. Here I am getting my heat gun ready and about to start mixing my epoxy. The epoxy I use is called Tumblerpoxy 2.0. I have that listed down in the description box. And I'm mixing 40 milliliters of Tumblerpoxy for this 30-ounce alcohol ink tumbler. For a 30-ounce tumbler, I usually mix 30 mLs depending on what's on the cup. But when I am using alcohol inks, I always add 10 milliliters of epoxy to what I am mixing for that cup. That way, the alcohol inks can flow freely, have room to move, and can swirl on their own. You always want a little extra epoxy when using alcohol inks, in my opinion. With my Tumblerpoxy 2.0, you need to mix it for 3 minutes. Whatever brand epoxy you're using, just do what you do with that epoxy when doing this tumbler. Alright, here we go. We're getting ready to add it on the tumbler. Make sure you have the proper protective equipment. I am wearing a respirator. I have my glove, and I load the epoxy all over this tumbler. You want a thick coat, so when you start using the alcohol inks, the inks start moving. I use all 40 milliliters of epoxy on this tumbler. Alright, now that you got that even coat all the way around, make sure you have that extra epoxy along the bottom rim and the top rim because they dry quicker. They will dry up the quickest. I usually don't use heat, but I was using heat in this video to pop the little micro bubbles, and now we're about to start dropping the ink. I use Tim Holtz Dandelion, Ember, and Crimson. They're all listed below in the description box, so you can go find them. I start with dropping the yellow all over. Just drop it, put as much as you want. Once it's spinning, it'll start swirling. Then I add my orange, the Ember. Same thing, dot it all over the place. Make sure you get the bottom of the cup and just keep dropping. Now I am getting the red, which is called Crimson. That's listed below in the description box. And you just start dropping the colors everywhere. If you like more yellow, you can leave more yellow. If you like more red, more orange, more orange. This is totally up to you. No two will ever look the same. I also like leaving little pieces of the white showing. Just gives it more definition in my opinion. But here I am adding inks, trying to fill in the spots. As you can see, the inks are already starting to mix and swirl together, but I'm just going to continually add inks until I think I'm satisfied, and I think it's enough. Hitting the bottom of that cup again, making sure that we do not forget that part. And you see, you can tell in the middle of the cup, they have like some white dots in the middle of the ink, so I'm just adding some more inks in spots where I think it could be darker, or the inks are starting to spread with the epoxy. Okay, I'm reversing the tumbler again. This is the third time. I usually rotate it 3 to 4 times while I'm messing with it, and you can see by each second the ink starts swirling. You can hit it with heat to have a little more ink if need be. It's all up to you and how you want your tumbler to look with the inks. Hitting it with heat a little bit more, feathering out the inks, getting them mixed up. And now spin it again. And this is where you can really see them starting to mix and feather together. And I'm adding more ink, hitting it with heat. That's the name of the game. The one thing I do want to stress, if they're starting to swirl, they're starting to mix together. It's doing its job. If there's enough epoxy, the ink can flow freely and be able to mix a lot better. I also see other crafters use black alcohol ink, the pure black. I did order some because I wanted to add it in this one, just a few dots to see what it would do, but it didn't come in time. As you can see, I reversed it again, hitting it with the heat. Now it's definitely starting to swirl. And that's it, guys. You just let it spin. Spin, spin. The longer it spins, the more it swirls. So this tumbler was actually dry to touch in 2.5 hours. It all depends on the epoxy that you use, whether it be a fast set or a regular set epoxy. All epoxies have different drying times. And temperature and humidity has a lot to do with drying times as well, but the epoxy I use, Tumblerpoxy 2.0, dries in 2.5 to 3 hours for me. Then I let this sit for about 8 hours, and then I will sand and add the decals. But yeah, guys, you can see it. It's starting to swirl, it's starting to finally look like fire, and you can do this with any color inks. So yeah, there's my very first tutorial, my very first YouTube video. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, see you later.